What's up with it, y'all? Polo Sports Talking ENT, and also Polo Sports News Plus. Here again with another one, tackling another subject. Um, hit that like, hit that sub, and comment as well. You know the drill. And make sure you're hitting them notifications so that you're able to get whenever I go live or get my videos and all that other jazz. Now, last night, it wasn't no secret. And if you didn't see it, it's not something that I really will uh, advise anybody, taking a look at, over and over again. But we know Giannis, man, he ended up getting hurt and getting hurt pretty badly. And a type of injury, when you talk about a hyperextension, uh, that's something that ends careers. Uh, it was a devastating injury, no doubt. But the fact that Giannis was even still walking, because I thought he was going to have to need a stretcher. That was just my take on it. I thought that he wasn't going to be able to walk, but the fact that he walked and he got up and was able to, go back to the locker room, that says a lot about him as a player. Now, even through all that, we still have to ask the question: what's going to happen going forward? We're going to just talk about Giannis, okay? We'll get to the Bucks in just a few minutes. But going forward, how is he gonna how is he gonna be as a player? Because we know that Giannis relies a lot on his speed and athleticism, mainly with his athleticism. He is agile. Don't get me wrong, but in order for you to have the type of agility that he has, you have to make sure that your body is on point. And that's a question that we have to ask ourselves. We have to ask ourselves, okay, is Giannis um, going to be the same? Once he gets back, or even will he be the same in the future? Will he be the same in the future? Will this have a lasting effect on his career going forward? Some people want to know that. I want to know that. Whenever you have an injury that takes place like this, you have to understand that there's rehab, um, there's healing, there's a healing process, and also you have to get that injury uh, fully swept up under the carpet to where you could even get back to where you were once again. And I know that the Paul George injury, that was nowhere near uh, this situation right here. However, it was pretty bad. Okay, and sometimes, man, some players, they may not come back the same, especially when you have, because a lot of people don't realize that T Mac, I'm not T Mac, Paul George was like a player like T Mac. He was ferocious in his attack when it came to attacking the rim. He wasn't dunking 1,000 times a game or anything like that, but he was extremely athletic. When I talk about Paul George, when we talk about guys like Sean Livingston, and I know that these injuries right here, they're not to the magnitude of what took place last night, but it was quite up there, and I was just amazed that the man was still walking. Like that goes to show you, the type of grit and the type of heart that Giannis has. And I want to know, will he be the same? Listen, this is what I think. I think that if he comes back and he plays and even plays at a high level, then he's going to take a drop the very next season. If I'm him, I'm shutting it down. I'm shutting it down. However, there's going to be some people that's going to be like, oh well, if you can walk on it, you can play and all this other stuff. I used to feel that way, but I don't know more because you got to look at the long term. I mean, he's got a bright future ahead of him, and if they keep the same core, they can pretty much be in there again. Now, I know a couple people was making some points that maybe Budenholzer's job is possibly saved if Giannis goes down. Uh, do I feel like Budenholzer is in a position to where he could possibly get fired if he loses this conference final? Yeah, I really do think so because they're going to look at it from the standpoint of, okay, what happened last year and the year before that. It's kind of those what have you done for me lately, and they're still going to be cutthroat. Like being non-understanding of whatever severity of the situation might have taken place. They don't care if you have an injury. They don't care if you have this going on or that going on. Their whole goal is to get another banner up in Milwaukee. That's their that's their prime objective. I mean, I don't want to see a player like Giannis, have okay, like Jamal Mashburn. When Jamal Mashburn had came in and he came from Kentucky, Jamal Mashburn was seen as a guy. He was seen as the type of player that could have been a Hall of Famer. But then he had injuries that kind of derailed his career, and he never really was the same. I mean, when he was in Dallas, and then I want to say he went to, I think it was Miami and a couple of other places. I think it was just Dallas and Miami, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to go back and look, but he just wasn't the same. But you saw talent in him, and you saw promise in him that, man, this guy could be a Hall of Famer. So when I look at a guy like Giannis, he who's a perennial All Star, who is a superstar in my opinion. He's a superstar, two-time MVP and Defensive Player of the Year and all that. And, first teamer on defense and stuff. You know, you don't want him to you don't want him to take a significant drop because of the magnitude of injury like this. A player like a LeBron and a few others haven't dealt with a magnitude of an injury like this. So their game, as far as longevity wise, were able to go further. And I want Giannis to go further, man. To be real with you, I don't want nothing taking place with that man that's gonna derail him because I know it. what type of hard worker this guy is. Now, I want to give a shout out to Ticket TV. He said something that was real important. So shout out to Ticket TV. If you haven't subbed to his any of his channels, go sub to his channel and pro basketball updates too. But this is what he said. He basically has said that Giannis, uh, for all the hell that he took with that whole situation with the injury and all that stuff, for all the hell that he took, you could tell the type of person that he is because he went down uh, back with his teammates and was sitting with them. And I'm pretty sure he probably had that mentality like, look, I still want to get in the game. You know, that's the type of mentality that you really don't see in a lot of players nowadays. You know, that's still willing to get out there and fight. I mean, you have to give credit to like James Harden, Joel Embiid, and Mike Conley Jr. Because even though that they were hobbled and they were injured, their production, it kind of went down and everything. But we knew what the situation was. Looking at it from a humanistic standpoint, looking at it from that standpoint, I don't want. Listen, I put it like this: him coming back is really, really, really risky, and a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of reward. The reward, of course, is okay. He'll put his team in possible position to win a championship. But the risk factor is that going forward, he may never be the same again. Okay, and he just signed the extension. That the max. He just got that contract. It was him and Rudy Gobert, guys that are valuable assets to their team. I mean, he's the megastar of Milwaukee. Milwaukee does not move without Giannis. Yes, they got Chris Middleton, but now Chris Middleton is put in a position where okay, I'm let's see if you could really hoist this team on your back. And he's not nowhere near on Giannis's level. I mean, in my opinion, can he score? Yeah. Chris Middleton is one of them type of players that okay, hey, look, I got somebody on the court that could take attention off of me, so that way I can do my thing. He he's one of them type of players. I mean, Chris Middleton, don't get me wrong, he could hoop and everything, and he's an all star. But Giannis is is seen as the guy that pretty much is the heartbeat of that Milwaukee franchise. He's made them relevant again. You know, nobody nobody wants to talk about it, and nobody wants to really look at the totality of the situation. But me, I have to look at something like this. Will he come back? If he does come back, will he be back? Will he be the same player? We've seen this time and time again. And I know Kyrie had got his, he had a sprained ankle and everything. But will he be the same when he comes back? Will Kawhi be the same when he comes back? Joel Embiid played, but is he going to be the same? Being that he logged so many minutes on that torn meniscus, the amount of surgeries that you're doing all the rehabs, the painkillers, uh, the you know the wear and tear because you even though you're playing, you might be getting in shape and all this other stuff. It's a sport like basketball, a sport like football is still doing wear and tear to your body. We have to look at those sort of things. This is doing more harm than good to a player like Giannis, who relies so heavily so much on his athleticism. So we're gonna have to take a look at this sort of thing. Look, I don't want Giannis to come back and be a shell of himself just right after 1 year after a knee injury that took place. We've seen it time and time again. A player will come in, uh, will have a dynamic season. Then that one injury takes place, and guess what? They're never quite the same again. People will be even so disrespectful to that player to say, okay, well, that guy's trash or he's a bum and everything, not realizing that that player, way back in the days, he would have lit you up had it not been for a certain injury. It's just like that situation. I'll go back to it again. That happened with Sean Livingston. Sean Livingston in that draft where it was him and Sebastian Telfair. Uh, I want to say was it Al Jefferson? I think Al Jefferson was in there. Man, those guys, man. Sean Livingston was a Sean Livingston was nice. I mean, he was the next best point guard in that draft. But then when he had suffered that injury, it was like he never was the same. I mean, it took him a while to even get back to at that somewhere at that level where he could actually go full throttle. But he clearly wasn't the same. That Golden State Sean Livingston, that wasn't the Clippers Sean Livingston. That Brooklyn Sean Livingston, that wasn't the Clippers Sean Livingston. And a lot of people don't really want to face the facts about this. This injury was more devastating than what it looked. And we have to understand that not everybody's body is built the same. For Giannis to get up and actually walk again, uh, I mean that was amazing. That says a lot about him. So maybe he can come back and maybe he can recover real good. I mean he's still fairly young. We're not talking about a guy that's in his 30s or anything like that. I mean he's nothing but 26, 25 or 26 years old. So he's still got some time. He's still got some time on his hands, and that leaves room for recovery. You know, and he hasn't really, from my knowledge, he hasn't really suffered a major injury like this before. I think this is his only one. Maybe he's probably had like a few sprained ankles here and there. And see that also goes back to what we were talking about with the situation with him and Kyrie. Now you see, he just got injured, right? So why would anybody think that Giannis would do anything like that on purpose? It just goes to show you that shit happens. It just happens. I mean, and everybody's like, well, well, he should have did this, and he should have landed this way. Man, there was no possible way from how they collided. It's just no possible way that you could have any type of full control of how he came down when he collided with Clay Capella. It just tends to take place sometimes. A lot of people don't understand that, like that situation that happened with LeBron and Gordon Hayward. That LeBron didn't mean to do anything like that. That was a injury that had taken place where two guys that collided in air. They had no control over that. And LeBron couldn't pull Gordon Hayward while he was in the air and literally hold him and land like as if he was holding him like he was a baby or something like that. No, it just doesn't work that way. You know, or the situation with Kyrie Irving and him coming down on Giannis's on Giannis's foot. There was absolutely no way that he had any type of control over that. Now you could, like, okay, like yesterday, I think there was a situation where Gallinari had got knocked, to the floor, but he made sure he held him. Whoever I forget who it was that I want to say I think it probably was Middleton or it was somebody, but they had Gallinari and made sure that, okay, hey, look, we don't want anything to happen to you or anything like that. You know, he or if you're in the air and you're clearly in the air and somebody pulls you down or something like that, then they'll sit there and they'll grab you just to say, hey, look, I I want to foul you and everything, but I'm not trying to injure or hurt you. But in a situation with Clint Capella and a situation with Giannis, there was no way that Clint Capella could hold them from the direction that they were in, or anything like that. It was a situation that was without their control. I feel really disgusted for the people that think that even Clint Capella would even think about doing something like that on purpose, because that clearly wasn't the case. That was not the case. You think Giannis is done? Do you think he's done? Do you think he's done for good, or do you think he's just done for the remainder of the playoffs? I want to hear your thoughts. You can hop in here too, Celtics Nation. Y'all hopped out last time. I don't know if y'all didn't have anything to say, but man, you can hop in here, man. So do you think he's done, or do you think he's done for good, or do you think he's just done for the rest of the playoffs, or for his career? Because as far as his career, it may have a little bit of impact on his athleticism. I don't think too much though, because you got to think about it. Very few people would have got up and walked. Very few people would have got up and walked. That man got up and walked. That man was able to get up and walk, And not only did he get up and walk, hey, he was acting like he was ready to get back in the game, Celtics Nation. He was acting like he wanted to play again. I was like, man, this dude got a. Oh, okay, you think he's done for the playoffs? Yeah, we're still waiting on some sort of status. Listen, if he's done for the playoffs, hey, I'm not mad at that. I would. Hey, look, I don't. I honestly, really honestly, I don't want that dude to play again. I don't want that dude to play again. I mean, some people might disagree, but I don't want him to play again. Excuse me. You're doing more harm than good. You're doing way more harm than good. Yeah, he might have. He might have. Anytime we talk about an ACL or MCL, meniscus, any portion of your knee, it's not nothing to play with. It's not something that we got to take lightly. It's not something that we could just be like, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. No, this is a big deal, and we also got to take into account. This is something could have a long lasting effect on his future. Now, I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen an injury like this where people have came back and they've kept the same type of agility, the same type of athleticism. I just haven't seen it. I just have not seen it, man. Do I want him to come back? Do I want him skying over motherfuckers? Hell yeah. But we gotta be realistic, man. As you reach closer to the age of 30, man, and the amount of stress that you're putting on your knees and your joints and stuff like that, it's not gonna be the same. It's clearly not the same. I don't think honestly. I mean, if he worked, because he was just starting to like evolve his game into a shooter and starting to get a little better at shooting. He still got a long way to go and everything, but he's made some sort of stride in the game. But with him being at this stage of the game where he's at right now, he's so heavily relied upon in terms of his athleticism that I don't think him being a shooter at this point of his career will quite work out for him that much because he's a guy that is real explosive. Can get to the rack with his athleticism, and he can jump. But see, that's where the flip side comes in. If he was a guy that could shoot, like for instance, like with MJ, the reason why he was able to transition his game in his later years was for the simple fact that he was able to consistently work on his shooting and develop some lower post moves, whether it was on the block or a little bit further out, without doing a whole bunch of without relying so much on his athleticism. and he was able, and he saw that, okay, he wasn't quite the same player like he was when, in the early years, but he still was a very impactful player. And does Giannis have that type of mentality? Can he subdue to that? Is he able to transition his game? And I think he could. I think he could. I think it'd be great for him. But being that he's a workhorse, I I don't see him stopping like that. I think that if the doctors tell him that he may never be able to be quite the leaper, or have the springs that he once did. How would that impact him mentally? That's the question that we have to ask. How would that impact him mentally? We have to understand that we're talking about a guy that really he takes the game seriously. His approach is like second to none. You don't really you see very few guys with the approach that Giannis has, and I've said it time and time again. I I might even sound like a Giannis, a Greek advocate and everything, but it's just that when you see a guy like this and you see him go down at the magnitude that he did, it makes you be like, man, will he ever regain that type of athleticism, that type of agility? Will he be able to have that again? And he could come back now if he's talking about coming back and coming back to where he once was. It will probably take him a while, but I'm quite sure that he would be in there just like anybody else, working to get back to where he once was, working to get back to to being that player that he once was. But that remains to be seen, man. Giannis has a lot of potential to get better, man. And you said no disrespect, but maybe the rest of the game will evolve now. The rest of the game will evolve. Yeah, I mean, it was already evolving, TJ. He was already starting to, you saw it, coming. But TJ, man, we live in a society now, man. We live in a microwave society. They want you to have a jumper, quick, fast, in a hurry. They want you to be they want you to be the best facilitator, quick, fast, in a hurry. They want you to automatically win a championship, quick, fast, in a hurry. And everybody's progression is different. Jason Kidd, it took him years to be a great shooter. Yeah, TJ, man, like, okay, shout out to Blackface too, man. Blackface Sports, man. If you haven't subbed to his channel, like I told y'all guys, make sure that y'all sub to his channel, man. I like when Blackface comes on too, man, because his inside of the game. I like picking his brain, more importantly, he's a veteran. So he's anytime I talk to a veteran like him or True King, LB, even JMJ 2121, even Omega Red, you shout out to those boys. You dealing with guys that have the mental fortitude to handle certain things. But this is what I was saying though, Blackface, being that you was oh, my bad, sorry about that. Being that you was in the military, Blackface, you see a situation like this, it becomes more of a mental battle, and more often than not, y'all are able to handle adversity like this, and y'all are taught to be mentally strong under any type of no matter what type of adversity comes, you know, and y'all have definitely been battle tested, both from a psychological standpoint, a physical standpoint, mental standpoint, emotional standpoint, you know, every type of standpoint that you could think of, y'all have been battle tested, and it becomes a mental battle. And see right here, this is going to be a mental battle. This is going to be a mental battle as well as a physical battle for him. Yeah, exactly. This is something. Okay, look, he's probably sitting down our black face, and he's like, you know what, man? I think I'm gonna see. Giannis could be so great, right, to where he could use his athleticism every now and again, but preserve his energy and still be able to control the game because he's still great on defense, even though he took somewhat of a drop off. He's still great on defense. He has the athletic ability, and he's starting to get more comfortable shooting. Not to say that he's a great shooter yet, but as soon as he gets that mid range and that 3 point shot down, he'll be uh, he'll be a dangerous player. But the thing that we have to understand is that he could be even more dangerous if he used that every now and again. So like if he spends the game shooting, and he's making a lot of those shots, and then they start to get close to him. Well, guess what? I could blow right past you, and then bam, I could just take you to the rack, and that's it. He could take over like that. Wait, what, man? We know you be trolling, man. We know you be trolling, man. You like, sometimes, man, you could be a contrarian, man. You would control you. Like, you a controlling. That's what you is. Nah, I'm fucking with you. Wait, what, man? Yeah, you trolling, man. You like the only person. You pretty much you. I haven't heard anybody else say that Giannis isn't a superstar except you, or unless it's some of them stupid motherfuckers that think that he can't shoot. That's just hating on his ass. And I hear a lot of stupid dudes say, "Oh well, he ain't no superstar yet because he don't have a jumper." That hey, there was a lot of hey Jordan. Yeah, man, it just be people that just be saying like little stupid things like, "Oh yeah, well, um, he ain't no superstar because he don't have a jumper or he don't have this or he don't have that." Well, I thought I thought the object of the game was to win, and I thought the object of the game was to put the ball in the hole. And put it like this. Yes, I know in this day and age, yes, it's great to have a jumper and everything. But think about it. It's he's doing something that's rarely happening. Do you see Zion shooting a whole bunch of shots? No. But they automatically calling him a superstar. He penetrating, getting to the rack. He's doing the same thing that Giannis does. Now, does he shoot every now and again? He shoot a little bit more, yeah. But Zion, man, Zion's point in the paint percentage is high too. We can't act like Giannis is the only one that's just mainly a slasher getting to the rack and gets all his points in the paint. He's not the only one. He's not the only one. I mean, as much as I like Zion, Zion, uh, Zion gets up and he relies a lot on his athleticism. But what did they say about Zion? You can't never win. If okay, if it's not his jumper, then he got to lose weight. If he ha, if he if he not if he hasn't lost any weight, then the guy he can't play no defense. Like with Luca, but they call Luca a superstar, but he can't. He's not the best defender, and he still needs to work on the mental aspect. So either way, man, they still gonna criticize you, man. All these guys' games, man, are not even complete yet. But they are at the superstar level. Giannis, listen, whenever an injury like that happens and the the uh, the air is sucked out of the arena and your team is like really really like shocked or something like that, that it done took place to you, it done took a psychological toll on them, man, you are a superstar. Now, had that happened to Middleton, I don't think they would trip as much because Middleton to me is not a superstar. He's a very good supporting player. He's a very good supporting player. So yeah, if y'all not gonna hop in here, man, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna shut this one down. But we have to really take into account that Giannis is one of those players that relies so much on his athleticism. And how will he be when he gets back? we're gonna have to figure that out. You know, we want him to come back. We want him to be that, continue being that superstar and that perennial all star that he wants to be. But okay, all right, no problem. Blackface, it's all good, man. Hey, look, but you know, like I said, man, y'all leave your comments. Y'all like this video, share it. If you're not um, a member of this channel, man, go ahead and you know, sub to the channel so that you'll be able to get my content and also hit the notifications as well. But until then, it's Polo Sports Talk and ENT and also Polo Sports News Plus. Y'all have a good one. I'll get at y'all.